Oh, don't be nervous.
All right. Well, hi everyone. I'm Maddie, and we've also got Natanya in the background as well. And just if you have any questions as we go throughout, just put them into the chat, and I might ask Natanya if you can just keep an eye on that, and then at the end we'll come back if there's any questions that have come through.
Yep.
So we're here to learn about the secretary role. So I'm actually the secretary for Rotaract Australia for this incoming year. There's always more to learn, though. I wouldn't call myself the the know-it-all of the secretary role, and I think any role that you take on within Rotaract is all a learning opportunity. But what we're going to talk about today in this session, we're just going to identify what your role and responsibilities are as a secretary, and what sort of skills and attributes will help you succeed in your role, and also where all the resources are and where you can find help, ask any questions, and gain any further advice or training. So what we might do, just to get to know each other a little better, because obviously each other are going to be a resource for the role in your upcoming year. So I might just get us to go around. I've got you guys in alphabetical order, which is handy. So I might go around that way. So I'll start us off. So I'm Maddie. So I'm in the Rotaract Club of Tamar Valley. So I'll be the immediate past president for that club in this upcoming year. But like I said, I'm the secretary for RA. Also a DRR incoming for District 9830. So it's going to be a very big year. I did hold the secretary role prior to the president role, and I really enjoyed the secretary role. It's a bit of an organisation freak, so I'm hoping a few more of you guys have that those tendencies as well. My favourite experience in Rotaract has definitely been Ryla, and I think it's the most incredible experience. And for anyone who's been, you understand why, and anyone who hasn't, it's hard to explain exactly what it is about Ryla that's so incredible, but absolutely the best experience I've had in Rotaract, and any leadership experience in general even. Ways I enjoy myself out of Rotaract, I am a bit of a hippie, I guess. I really enjoy, making my own hair products and skincare products. A bit of a natural person. So I really enjoy that side of thing, getting into nature and enjoying myself, relaxing that way. So we might go around. I've got Alex, yourself up first, if you wanted to unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm Alex. I'm based in Melbourne with Diamond Valley Rotaract Club. We're the only club in our district, so we're like kind of isolated, but we're next to other clubs in other districts, so we're not too isolated geographically speaking. I am the current secretary and most likely next year's secretary, and I'm basically here just to learn more about being a secretary because I feel like I could do it better.
Love that. Amelia?
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm from the Manningham Rotaract Club. I'm going to be the secretary for this coming year, and I'm super excited to learn some more stuff.
Okay, Brooke?
I'm Brooke. I'm from the Rotaract Club of Tamar Valley, same as Maddie. I am our current secretary and our incoming secretary, so they have to put up with me a little bit longer on the board. My favourite experience in Rotaract has got to be Soggy Bottom. If you don't know what it is, you have to look it up. Yeah, it's an amazing thing that we do. And the way I enjoy myself outside of Rotaract is actually race cars. So that's my outside of Rotaract thing.
Awesome, thanks, Brooke. Carmel?
Hi, yeah, I'm Carmel. I'm from the Table Cape Rotaract Club in Tasmania. We're a reasonably new club, so we really haven't been going for very long at all and don't have a whole lot of members. I've taken on the secretary role this year, and yeah.
Very brave. Someone's got to do it. Love that. Chithuri, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yeah, hi, my name's Chathuri. I'm from the Rotaract Club of Bunbury, so that's in WA. And I've been in Rotaract for quite a few years now, maybe at least 6 or 7. And in that time, I have held a couple of different roles, but just wanted to know a little bit more about being secretary because I haven't had any formal training in it yet. So yeah, my favorite experience in Rotaract has been when I actually went on a Rotaract round trip all the way to Romania. So that was pretty crazy and exciting, meeting a whole bunch of strangers from all over the world. It's probably one of the best experiences of my life. And ways I enjoy Rotaract, outside of a Rotaract, I like running, just meeting up with friends, all the usual stuff. Yeah.
Running, that is amazing. That stresses me out more than relaxing. So thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Is that me? I'm not sure which name I put on the.
Yeah, that's yourself talking.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Or Libby. I'm from the Canberra Rotaract Club. I've been in Rotaract sort of on and off for about 4 years now. And so I've also been the International Service Director last year, or I'm currently in that position. Favorite experience is probably RILA, because I went to RILA last year. And outside of Rotaract, I like to read, play guitar, Netflix, all that sort of stuff. I've also got another person with me here. Do you want to talk?
Okay. Yeah, we're just sharing and grouping up for a bit.
Love
so
that.
my name's Joseph. I'm at the Rotaract Club of University of Canberra. I've been in Rotaract for about 3 or 4 years. Only position I've held as secretary. I'm doing it again this year. What I enjoy outside of Rotaract is generally going for a walk or playing some indoor games with friends or playing some video games. Favorite experience with Rotaract, just all the friends I've made over the years.
Beautiful.
And I'm with these guys as I'll put yours on mute. I'm with these guys as well. Is that muted? Oh, no. Okay. So I'm with these guys as well. What's happened? There we go. Yeah. I'm from the Wagga Wagga Club, and I have been president, vice president, and community service officer. And so I've held a lot of hats in my day. In my free time, I like to read and write, and that's me.
Beautiful. Thanks, Georgie. Hannah?
Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm part of Gateway Rotaract in Melbourne. I've been part of Rotaract for about 8 months, been a member. I don't have a board position. And my favourite part of Rotaract so far is that I went to the ARC in the Gold Coast, which was really cool. And I went to RILA last year, which was amazing. And I like, outside of Rotaract, I like to do Pilates and yoga, things like that. Yeah,
Perfect.
and that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, ARC I heard was incredible.
It
I've heard the best things about ARC. It was only a few months ago, wasn't it? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
This year is so weird. Jessalyn?
Hi, I'm Jess. I'm from the Rotaract Club of Monash near Melbourne. I've been a member of Rotaract for maybe a month, but I was previously in an Interact club and I held a position of secretary there. I haven't had many experiences in Rotaract yet, but outside of Rotaract, I really enjoy reading and Star Wars.
Awesome. Jordan?
Hi guys, my name is Jordan. I'm from the Burleigh Heads Rotaract Club up on the Gold Coast. I've been in Rotaract for about 3.5 years now, and I'm currently the secretary. I'm the incoming secretary, and I was the International Service Director last year. My favourite experience in Rotaract would either be being in the committee for ARC this year or being the chair for our inaugural Interact conference that we ran in November last year. So that was pretty amazing. Outside of Rotaract and uni, I don't have a lot of time. So probably reading. I'm a massive bookworm. So I'd probably say that one.
Perfect. Thanks, Jordan. Very busy. Corinza? I hope I pronounced that right.
No, that's good. Hi. So my name is Corinza. I'm from the club of the Hills Rotaract, which is in Sydney. And I guess my favorite, I think 3 to 4 years I've been in Rotaract. And my favorite experience in Rotaract is just being a part of the community, the Hills community, and coming together with my group because we're just such a zany, just a mix of all these different personalities coming together. And I think just being a part of that really is always inspiring to me. It's always my favorite experience, coming together with them and making a positive impact in the community. And I think I enjoy outside of Rotaract. I like working with, I work with children. I'm an early childhood educator, but I also like doing actual charity work in the community. I think, it's always fun to do that. So that's
Awesome. Thank you so much. Kate?
Hi, I'm Kate, and like Libby, I'm from the Rotaract Club of Canberra, and I've been in Rotaract this is my 2nd year now, and I'll be the incoming social director, but obviously there wasn't a breakout room for that, so I thought it'd be interesting to learn a little bit more about the secretary position. Lots of favourite experiences in Rotaract, but I'd probably have to say Ryla, which I attended this year. Amazing. And outside of Rotaract, I study design and visual arts, so all things arty is kind of my interest. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Kim?
Hey, I'm Kim. I'm from the Rotaract Club in Toowoomba. I joined Rotaract about 6 years ago after I attended RILA. In that time, I've been president, vice president. I've had multiple directorships. I am also the current and incoming DRR for my district. My favorite experience in Rotaract, I think, has just been getting to know so many people, and then also the couple of ARCs I've been to. They're always an incredible experience. And then I enjoy life outside of Rotaract sort of by being a bit of a gym junkie.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. May?
Yep. Hi, so I'm May, and I'm from the Rotaract Club of Monash. So I'd say kind of relatively recently joined Rotaract straight after I attended RILA last year. And then aside from that, one of my other favorite experiences would have been we've recently celebrated our 10th year as a club. So it was really cool as a new member to kind of appreciate the history of the club and what we've done so far. So I'm the incoming secretary for this year, and outside of Rotaract, I really enjoy dancing.
Ooh, awesome. Thanks, May. Natanya?
Yeah, I'm Natanya. I'm from Monash Rotaract Club as well. I've been in Rotaract for about 4 years now. I've been the president and since then remained on the board. Favorite experience would have to be going to the Rotary International Assembly earlier this year. One of 60 Rotaractors from around the world who attended, so that was pretty incredible. And outside of Rotaract, seems to be a common theme, but I love reading.
Must be a secretary thing.
Yeah, probably.
Olivia? We might have lost her through there. Quinn, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
G'day all, my name's Quinn. I'm from Armidale, part of the New England Rotaract Club. I joined last year and went straight to secretary and am secretary this year. So been a bit fresh to it all. I don't have too many experiences. I'm just here to figure out what the hell I'm doing for the 2nd year in a row. Outside of Rotaract, I'm just about to finish a degree in zoology and spend most of my time outside on the sporting field when I can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And sorry, I don't have your name on here. It's just R Branch. I'm not sure if that's actually your name.
Oh, sorry, I must have forgotten to update it before this. I'll have to fix that up. I'm
No
Ryan. I'm part of the Brisbane River City Club, and this is my first year in Rotaract. Actually, I thought taking on the secretary position would be a good way to get to know the club better and how it all works. I'd say so far my favourite experience in Rotaract has been I joined during the River City Club running its professional development series of meetings. Where they got a lot of really interesting guest speakers in, and yeah, that was just sort of what really pulled me into the club. I think I just found it so fascinating, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to helping with that sort of thing. Ways I enjoy outside of Rotaract, I'm a bit of a film buff, so yeah, I've got a bit of a collection. Yeah, I just adore movie trivia.
Awesome. All right, you'd be good to have on a team through trivia then. Reginald?
Hey there. Not sure if you can see me, but hi. So I joined Rotaract early last year because I was like a transition period between scouts, like Rover Scouts, and just helping out because I wanted to continue doing service in the community. So I joined Rotaract for that reason. My previous experience has been, so I hold many executive positions within different organizations around different sub-communities that I'm a part of. So one of them is the secretary for the Australian Gamers Network and Melbourne Gamers, where we hold a lot of gaming events for LGBT people of all different ages. At work type of style, I've experienced in administration. I was an executive assistant for a while as well, so I did a lot of meetings, a lot of organizing, booking meetings, and all that kind of stuff. So I had kind of the idea of how to shape that secretary role within my own existing roles as well. I'm in this because I'm kind of like, I just want to learn more about what it is to be a secretary, because I already have a base foundation of it, but I want to find out what everyone else's perception of it is, because a secretary holds one of the biggest roles within a committee, making sure that everyone has the right equipment, the right tools required to do their jobs, but also being able to run meetings and kind of minute taking is very important. And I've developed my minute taking over many years, and I've refined it and refined it to a better stance where I'm able to just like write down key points instead of writing down everything that was mentioned in the meeting. My biggest Rotaract, I guess my biggest Rotary or Rotaract event was Ryla last year. I went to Ryla 2019. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that I'm part of Gateway Rotaract, which is based in Melbourne. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Reginald. We've got Olivia back. If you wanted to jump in, Olivia.
Hi, sorry about before. So my name's Olivia. I'm from Peninsula Rotaract Club. I have been in Rotaract for 5 years now. Positions held, I've been secretary before, president, international director, and then I'll be the incoming secretary this year. My favourite experience in Rotaract was probably my first ARC, which was, I think, 5 years ago now in Tassie. And outside of Rotaract, I really enjoy traveling, but obviously can't do that right now.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so much, Olivia. Samantha.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm from the University of Wollongong Rotaract Club. This is my second year in Rotaract. I'm the outgoing vice president, incoming secretary. My favourite experience was probably ARC this year. It was like the first Rotaract event that I got to go to. And outside of Rotaract, I pretty much any excuse to not study, so any excuse to get outside and do something else, I'm like on top of that.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a bit of I avoid my assignments with Rotaract as well. It's a good excuse. Awesome. Shahada? Oh, no, I don't know if we've got you on the call there. I'll come around to Stephanie.
Hi. Oh, yes, you can see me.
I'm Steph. I'm from the Cradle Coast, or Central Coast, sorry, Central Coast Club in Tasmania, so on the northwest coast. I've just joined Zonta, which is the Cradle Coast Club, so a bit of confusion there. I've been very much like Olivia in the club for about 5 years, and I've been secretary a couple of times and president for a couple of years. Had a year off last year and now coming in as secretary again, which is my favourite role because you have control. You get to know everything that's happening in the club and organise all of that. And same as Olivia, the Hobart ARC was, I think, my best experience. I was quite new and signed up straight away. One of my first meetings, they talked about it happening and I thought, that sounds great. Went down to Hobart, had a great time. And then I think the next year went to Rotaract Games in Sydney, which was really fun as well. So top 2 Rotaract experiences. And I also like reading and scrapbooking in my spare time as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. So many Tassie peeps here. I'm loving this. We'll come back to you now, Shahadat, if you've got your mic working again. No? All good. Tom?
Hi everyone, my name's Thomas. I'm part of the Knox Rotaract Club, which is yet to charter. So yeah, we haven't done too much. And my friend kind of got me involved, so I haven't had much experience with Rotary or Rotaract just yet. And things I enjoy outside of Rotaract is, well, I'm studying a Bachelor of Music, so music's a lot of my life. But yeah, I really like learning languages as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Timothy?
Hi, my name's Tim. I'm from the Otway Rotaract in Toilet. It's my first, I've been in Rotaract for, I think, 3 months now. And this is my first time of secretary of Otway Rotaract.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim. William? Last but not least.
I am, sorry. My name is William. I belong to the Southern Highlands Rotaract Club. We are less than 1 year old, so I have not had many experiences within it. I am currently the president and will be the next secretary. Ways I enjoy myself outside of Rotaract, I usually do a lot of university. I love the course I'm doing, so that's always good fun to get stuck into that. Or I drink coffee, one of those two.
Awesome. Yeah, I had to run and get my coffee this morning, triple shot cab, or this presentation wouldn't have gone ahead. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. It's a really good way to get some other ideas on how other secretaries are taking on their role, because obviously every club is a little different and every secretary is going to be a little different. So it's really good to be able to get to know each other. I can see as well there's already been some emails being exchanged, so that's really, really good, and I highly encourage you guys to keep in touch with each other throughout your secretary year as well. We've also got a lot of experience in here too. So we've got a fair few people that have been secretaries for a while, and some newbies coming into the role who might have some really fresh ideas and fresh thoughts. So yeah, make sure you do stay in touch with each other. So from the handbook, the secretary's definition is, it's the secretary's primary responsibility to help the club function effectively and efficiently, sorry. So we should have good communication skills and be really well organised. And by the sounds of it, even just hearing all of you guys speak, your communication skills are amazing. And everyone seems to really like to read as well, because you'll read a bit as a secretary. A bit of writing was thrown around in there as well as some interest. So that's really good to hear. These things seem to kind of come quite naturally. So I'm not sure about you guys, but it seems like the secretary role is one that people get pretty much thrown into. So usually you'll join a club and within a month you're somehow the secretary. What has happened? That's very much how I sort of started into that role. But like Steph said, it gives you such a good insight view to how that club works, and you do get to know everything about Rotary and Rotaract so quickly in this role. So it's a really incredible way to find out more if you are really new to Rotary or Rotaract. So yeah, it's definitely bit of the face of the club, you could say. So in terms of what you'll be doing, it will be a lot of admin sort of things. So within the meetings, you'll be looking at things like the agenda and taking the minutes. And I'll show you an example of what our club does with our agenda and our minutes so that you can get a bit of an idea of little hints and tips. And I'll go into more detail on that. You'll be a bit of an organizer, so hopefully you guys are organisation freaks like myself, and then this will come a little easier for you. But keeping all of the records and the documents up to date for your club, and then just make sure that everything is on top of. So, you know, things like working with vulnerable people cards and that sort of thing, and I'll dive into a little bit more of exactly what organisation tools you'll be wanting to use. You'll be handling the correspondence, so keeping an eye on the emails and the post mail if you've still got a PO box. It may also look at things like website and social media in terms of communications coming in, but it also completely depends on your club as well. They may have a communications director that would take over that sort of thing as well. So you will be a bit of a record keeper, which does come under that organisation. When I came into the role originally, looking at the Google Drive gave me a lot of anxiety. So going in and actually organising that so it was easy and efficient made record keeping a lot easier. And from there, it's now even been further still organised by our new secretary and making sure that it works really well for them as well. So you'll be looking at things like your members' info and memberships. If you're an incorporated club, you will look at things like MyCav and definitely keeping on top of My Rotary as well. So hopefully everyone has checked out My Rotary and looked through all the resources there previously, but that's going to be somewhere that you sort of spend a fair bit of time. And don't forget to delegate as well. But I will say that a lot because this is a huge role, you guys. The secretary role can be really hard to do, and you do get really overwhelmed quite quickly, especially when you've got all these emails coming through. You've got to put the agenda together. You've got to keep on top of all of the organising. It can feel like things get quite on top of you. So making sure that you do delegate with that role. So, you know, for example, if you've got all of that organising to do of the Google Drive, make sure you talk to the team and maybe separate a few folders so that you're not doing all the work on your own. So with the agenda, the minutes and all of the meetings, you're pretty much the behind the scenes of all of it. So it is a really important role what you guys are doing as secretary to make sure that these meetings are running really efficiently so that they're still engaging for the members too. So in terms of the agenda and putting it together, you'll need to be looking at what's going to be discussed in your meeting, what are things that we cannot forget about. A really handy way to do this is to share the agenda prior to the meeting. So if anyone has anything they want to add, they can add it in themselves, or they can get in touch with you and get things added onto the agenda that need to be discussed in the meetings. Of course, there is always at the end a bit of time for general business. So I'll show you through what our agenda looks like in just a sec. So in terms of taking minutes, we heard from Reginald saying he was pretty much writing everything down that was said, and that's very much how I started my role as well. You find that you get really tired very quickly in meetings doing that. So certainly just making sure that you're summarizing, but of course being thorough enough so that people can read it. So I would find that I would make very quick writing, which sometimes didn't make a lot of sense when I read it back. But I got to know my own easy ways to write words without having to write the entirety of it, so you can do it quicker. And then you can go back through and always change it before you share it through with your members if need be. You will need to look at things like motions, so if any decisions need to be made, and I'll give you an example from our minutes of what that looks like. We're basically documenting all the decisions that are being made and keeping record of that. So there are some situations that will come up where you will, for things like finances, where you need to get motions moved and accepted. And this is so that those who couldn't come are able to look back and actually keep up to date with what's going on in your club. So obviously not all members can come to every single meeting, but people will get left behind if they don't feel like they can actually keep up with what the club is doing. So this is keeping people accountable. And so if there's a job that needs to be done, we need to remember that it does get done. So we need to make sure that we're letting people know what their deadline is to getting a task completed. And you also want to make sure that you're sharing those agendas and minutes. So some tips, I'll show you through what ours looks like in terms of saving it into the Google Drive. I actually hadn't thought of this, and now thinking back to when I set up my Google Drive, this would have been really handy. But making sure that the name with the date backwards so that it lines up in chronological order, because it can be quite hard to find where those minutes are if it's not easy to just sort of look through. So apologies, Brooke. I haven't made that easy on you. And having a look at color coding. So I'm just going to quickly, can you guys still see my screen? It's now Google Drive. Awesome. So this is an example of what our agenda looks like. And so what we basically are able to do then is just copy it and take out all the info. So we've got all the names of our people here. You can see them all with a different color code. So basically when you're putting the minutes together, you can just come up here, copy her name, and say if there's anything in the IT update that Taylor needs to do, you could place it in there with her color code. So when she's looking through the minutes, if she's just looking for things that are alerted to her, she can just keep an eye out for her color, basically. And there was a tip on that presentation that yellow is all, which is not something that we have been doing, but that is another really great tip. We've also got things like follow up from previous meeting. So that's stuff that gets kept on when we take everything out of this sheet. So it just means that things don't get forgotten or left behind. So if you are putting your minutes together and there was a job for Taylor to do, for the next meeting, I would put that up into follow up from previous meetings so that we can just make sure that that's on track and happening. We've got all of the updates in here, President, Treasurer, Secretary. We do a members minute, and we also have our highs and lows for our club. But of course, every club runs differently on how you have your fellowship time and professional development. We've then got all of our director updates, and so they're kept in there each time, and they can just easily jump in and update anything in there. We also then have saved in here our chair roster so that we know who's going to be chairing our next meeting and who will be doing our next members minute as well. So if anything needed to be added, if say Brooke got a message saying I need to talk about World's Greatest Shave, she could just come in here and copy that and add a new agenda item in. And then we've just got room for general business at the end and the upcoming key dates so that we know what's coming next. We've got the date for the next meeting, location all online at the moment, but if you're a club that moves around, that would be really handy to have on there as well. So that's basically what our agenda looks like, all shelled out. It's so handy having all of these here to just go through with an X as you're coming into the meeting. Reminders in here, so if there's any new attendees. But of course, everyone has something slightly different, and I'm more than happy to share this. This will be part of your resources pack, and I'll make sure it's a Word document one so that you guys are able to copy it as well if you wanted to use our resources. For minutes, I have just taken the highs and lows out, but usually we write in there what people's highs and low points are. So we've got in here all of the people that were here. If someone was an apology, you could write a note on why. And then coming down through here, basically this is just everything that we ended up talking about in our meeting. So here's an example of a motion to accept. So we had some finance reports that were put in. So I moved the motion, we had to have it second, and the motion was carried. So that's an example there of how it's written. And again, this will be shared with you so that you can keep all of these resources. Coming on down, so we've got a few different things that were added in here. Here's that World's Greatest Shave. And general business, we had Holly move a motion in general business to pay for a website. So that was seconded, and then the motion carried. So this is a really simple way to do your minutes. And you can see here as well, it's dot point style, but really easy to read, really quite thorough. Anyone could sort of pick this up and know what they need to do for the next meeting. So that's an example of the minutes there. I'll just jump back into this. Awesome. So if you are an incorporated club, you will have to have an AGM. So they happen once a year, and you do need to give 14 days sufficient notice of these meetings. So they do require quorum. You will need to have your annual report as a president and your financial statement as a treasurer, and you need to lodge your statement within 1 month. So that's where the MyCav website comes in. So if you're unsure if you're an incorporated club, I'd suggest getting in touch with your president and your board, and if they're not aware, touch base with your DRR. I do know that for Tassie, none of our clubs are incorporated, but I'm not 100% sure on the other states. So I do have as well in those resources actually an AGM general overview of the rules and what needs to go on. Of course, any of those rules can actually be changed at an AGM, and that's the point of the AGMs. So just making sure you read through this. If you are an incorporated club, that will also be in the resources there for you as well. Awesome. So emails and mail. So you do get a fair few emails, but they're not always for you to have to handle. You can absolutely delegate them, especially if it's not one that is intended for you. So they'll all likely go into your club's email. You do have the club's G Suite. Our club still currently has our just normal Gmail emails. So every club does run slightly different. So make sure that you do just have a chat with your board and discuss how that will all work and how it'll look. You can go through and make it pretty professional, and so you can have your signatures there, and I've just put an example of what mine looks like. I think it does take your club that little step further to be a really professional looking club with a beautiful signature, and making sure that you're looking at things like reply all, forwarding, BCC, CCs. I'm sure most of you guys know how they all work, but I think the BCC is probably the most important one to remember if you are emailing a lot of people and you don't know if you can pass on their contact details. Just make sure that you are BCCing so that they can't see all the other people and their contact details within that as well. So if you are forwarding anything on to any of your club members to delegate through for them to respond to, make sure that you're being really specific about it. You could even add it into the agenda as a follow-up from previous meeting to ensure that someone has responded to that. Bit of advice, I'd suggest archiving rather than deleting messages. It just means that at any point, if anyone needs to search for anything, then they can find it still, rather than deleting it will get fully deleted at some point. And looking at creating a lot of labels and folders. So we've got a few folders there of our board roles. You could really nut out your labels and your folders so that everything is as organized as possible. And I don't know about you guys, but I find that quite satisfying, putting everything in a folder and having an email account, an inbox with no emails in it. That's a really satisfying feeling. So making sure that it is quite clear in your emails, because that's where it starts getting a bit overwhelming. If your club does have a PO box, make sure that that is getting checked at least sort of weekly or before each meeting, so that you know if there's any correspondence that have come through that you can pass through. Usually they are things for the treasurer, so bills to be paid. So it's just really important to make sure that those are being checked. That doesn't necessarily mean it's your job to check the PO box, because if you're the secretary but you're a million miles away from the post office, it doesn't make any sense for you to have to do that. It is your responsibility to ensure that it is getting checked. Like for example, I've got the key here and I have just realized I have not been to the post box this week. So, so I'll have Brooke on my case soon about that. So yeah, just keep in mind that all these things that I'm saying, these aren't necessarily your responsibility to do. It's your responsibility to be on top of. So making sure that you are delegating, but ensuring that that's getting followed up. So record keeping, here's a little snippet of our drive, and you can see there where it says secretary updated. There's Brooke's hard work all going into getting all of these folders cleared out. It is a huge job, but once it's done, it's something that can then be really well passed on to the next secretary. So like we said, the secretary role is all about making sure the club runs efficiently. And so sometimes it does mean working really hard in your year, but if it means then that somebody can walk into the secretary role and you've made it a really simple process, everything's really easy to do, to find, it means that you're not going to have a secretary that gets burnt out really quickly. So putting in the hard work, remember to delegate. So for example, Brooke has asked some people to come on and help out with updating this drive, and we're making sure that it's getting done slowly but surely so that it's not an overwhelming task, because it does take a really long time. So you'll have all sorts of things within your drive, and again, totally depends on your club and what you guys all decide to do. So you would have under the secretary heading there would be things like the members info. So we have a really handy form that we get our members to fill out when they, a Google form, when they sign in. So when they join our club, and that automatically puts all of their details into an Excel spreadsheet, which we absolutely love. So we can then go in and if a member leaves, we can take them off that Excel sheet, but that means we can quickly just grab everyone's email and add it in and send a mass email to all of our members. We can really quickly see if anyone had any dietary requirements. If they need a new shirt, we've got their sizes all in there as well. So it just makes things really quite easy. And I don't imagine any of us would use a filing cabinet, but absolutely online. If anyone is, I can't imagine any of us because we're all here on a laptop, but if any of us are handwriting notes, that will be very tiring. So making sure things are online, and you do find that that's a much more efficient way to do things. So working with vulnerable people will also be in there, so making sure that all of your members have those details. That would also come under the members info, so making sure that they're all saved in a handy document, because obviously if anyone doesn't have one of those, it may restrict what events they're able to actually fund to help with. So and then you can see there the membership data. That's a quick snapshot from my Rotary. So this is where you will come to add your new Rotaractors into my Rotary. So it's a really easy process to do, and that's just under manage and then club admin in my Rotary, and then update club data. So you would just go add new Rotaractors. Super simple to do, very self-explanatory. I don't imagine any of you guys would have any struggles, but if you do, feel more than free to reach out. So what I might get us to do, just because there are a fair few of us, if you wanted to maybe just in the chat box, just write one or a few sort of qualities that you think a good secretary would have, something that you think will make this job a bit easier that naturally comes to you. Do we have any other organisation freaks? Attention to detail, yeah. Communication, so important. Transparency, yes, yes, absolutely. Timeliness, yes. Yeah, active listening for sure. It is hard, the active listening. I don't know, that doesn't come as naturally for me because I get very distracted very easily. So I'll find my mind starts to wander and I have to really bring it back. So I actually found, being the secretary, I was paying a lot more attention in the meetings because I had to write it all down. So yeah, absolutely active listening. Writing skills, yes. And that's something that you do work on over the year. Like I said, you know, my skills of minute taking have certainly gotten a lot better over time, and you learn from mistakes. The first couple of meetings I consistently was like, well, stop, what did you just say? So feel more than free to stop a meeting at any point if you really need a quick second to catch up, because obviously if something doesn't get minuted correctly, that can make things a little more difficult for the club. So it's better for you to be honest and communicate that really quickly if you need to slow down in a meeting. Yeah, organisation, computer literacy, awesome. Empathy, yes, beautiful. Teamwork. These are great, guys. Thank you. Yeah, ability to use Google Drive well. Awesome. Glad that's come across. Make the work streamline. Yeah. So yeah, making everything really efficiently ran in your club is so important. Dedication, love that. Yeah. It is a role that you do need to be really dedicated to. It is hard if you need to take a meeting off, because obviously you'll need to find someone to take those minutes, and they need to be all over what needs to happen with that. So I've just got a few other ones that I've just put in here as well, but you guys have pretty much listed most of those things. But one thing to mention is discretion. So especially with things like board meetings as well, you might be having conversations that are around certain people and situations. So just making sure that you are discreet with maybe the way that you're putting those into minutes, and discussing with the board as you go whether it's something that does need to be minuted, if it is a conversation like that. So team player was mentioned, absolutely. Multitasker, you will be doing many things all at once as a secretary. IT skills, that will certainly make the job a lot easier. So maybe have a chat to the guys that are going into the breakout with the IT session. So seeing if there's ways that you can maybe implement some of those tips that are given in that to make your job a lot easier, having those skills. So in terms of resources as a secretary, I will pass through all of the things that I've shared with you guys today. So this PowerPoint and those minutes and the agenda, I'll go through and make sure that those, the agenda is a Word document. I think it was a PDF. So I'll make sure it's a Word doc so that you guys can easily copy it if you wanted to, and then feel more than free to tweak it. You will also have a really good relationship with your committee, your board. So your past secretaries, they're always a really good person to reach out to. Highly recommend doing a handover if you have a past secretary. Of course, if you were the secretary last year, that handover is very easy. You already know most of the ins and outs of it. Each other, so this group here, I did see some emails coming around as well. So yeah, make sure that you do reach out with each other. Completely up to you how you guys want to do that. You might want to start a messenger group or whatever that is. So just reaching out and seeing if anyone has any other ideas. If you were thinking of a project that you wanted to do as a secretary and didn't know where to start, always feel free to reach out to myself as well. I'm always happy to answer any questions. Feel free to add me on Facebook, or you'll have my email as well. So just some bits of advice. Really make sure that you do communicate with your team if you are feeling overwhelmed. Like I said, it can get a lot, this job, and it's really important that if you need to take a step back, that you are letting your team members know so that they can help with your role, so that you can come back into it and everything's kept on track and not feel like you then have to scramble. Every team does operate really differently as well, so not all secretaries will be the same for each club. So I would recommend from here sitting down with your board and having a really good look at each of your roles and what each of the tasks are and whether they actually suit that person. So for example, the PO box key, you know, if it doesn't make any sense for you to do that job, just because you're a secretary doesn't mean you necessarily have to do the work, but just ensuring that your roles you're responsible for. So yeah, reminder to delegate, again, that comes under that. I'd also give some advice of really making it your own. Do some things that your club hasn't done before and really make the role special to yourself. So I mean, things like a newsletter. If your club doesn't do a newsletter, you might be really interested in ensuring that the word is really spread about what your club is doing, not just to your own members. So maybe turning your minutes into a fun-looking newsletter that you can then spread through. And finding ways for your club to operate that are more efficient. So things like how you guys communicate, things like Slack versus just Facebook Messenger or emails might be a really good way for your club to communicate, but that might not work for yours either. So making sure that you're all discussing what works best. And that would be really handy to do in a planning day, which I believe will be talked about a little more towards the end of the day under club culture as well. So from here, what you're going to need to do is sit with your board and plan your year ahead and what that will all look like and how the secretary role fits into your plans for the year. If you do have the previous secretary, just looking through the handover and seeing how they've been doing the role, get some thoughts on what to do yourself and what you might want to look at changing. Check out the templates for the agenda and minutes. Feel free to Google some agenda templates even as well. I think that might be how I initially found that one. And then make sure that you're tweaking it to best suit yourself and how you will best operate. Make sure you've got access to your email, the mailbox, the Google Drive, filing cabinet if you're on paper. But yeah, getting access to everything that you're going to need to do your job. You might not know exactly what that is straight off the bat, especially if you don't have a handover to do, if there's no previous secretary to help you with that. But as things come up, making sure that you do have access to all of those things that you're going to need. Awesome. So, well, we've got a few minutes left. If anyone had any questions at all, I'm not sure if any have come through.
Didn't really look like it from the chat, but yeah, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, you can go ahead now.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, Alex from Diamond Valley here.
Hello.
Quick question: is it like viable to have all members in a club access to the club Google Drive, particularly if it's a small club like under 10 people?
I think so, for transparency reasons. It is best to have everyone able to access that information. So obviously then that's where it falls under with the discretion if you've got your board minutes in there. So just being conscious that everyone can see those notes is the only advice there. But yeah, I would for transparency reasons, even if you have a board folder that's locked, if you had things in there that you didn't want every member to see. But I think that it really shows then not only the transparency of the board, but it gives people a bit of an idea of what it looks like to be on the board as well, and what sort of conversations that everyone's having and whether you want to fit into a role that's in there. So yeah.
Great, thank you.
No worries. Any other questions at all, guys? Otherwise, we might have a early 5.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you or anyone else in the group has had any experience with like task manager apps, so like Trello or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who usually.
Well, just had you drop in and out a little bit there, but we have used what's it called, Asana before. The free version is great for smaller clubs. Once you get a group of members on there, it does become paid. We have also had a club down in Hobart in Sandy Bay that use Trello, and they find that is working really well for their club. Trello is really, I've used that for work before, and I found that really easy in terms of where a task is at and moving it along. It's so easy to attach documents to a task. So if there's something that you're doing that requires an attachment, it's just so much easier to have it all there in the one spot for the one task. So Trello is one that I'd recommend. It's very user friendly, and I'm pretty sure that one's free as well, and you can have a fair few members on there from what I'm aware of. Does anyone else have any other advice on tasks lists that they've used in the past that worked really well?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how does it make Streamline as a secretary? and what it does for making my work streamlined.
The apps we were just talking about.
Actually, how to make my work is efficient, more efficient to take a decision, critical decision.
Sorry, just to clarify, so how to make your position as secretary more streamlined?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, things like using your Google Calendar as a reminder. I would have in there Monday nights. Those were the nights that I would put the agenda together, and then I'd have another calendar reminder, you know, the day after the meeting to ensure that that's sent through. So things were constantly reminding me and popping up to keep me on track with all of my deadlines. So a Google Calendar is a really great way to remind yourself of what's coming up, and you can get pretty high tech with it if you've got all of your members on the Google Calendar as well. You can then have everything alert to all of them. For certain tasks, for certain things that need to be done, like we were just saying before, you've got apps like Asana and Trello that are really great ways to keep you on track for the projects that you're currently working on. You invite all of your team into that as well. It keeps them all on track, and you don't have to spend so much time reminding people to do tasks, because apps like that will actually send those people an email saying, hey, you've got a task to do. So I find that that's a really nice way as a secretary to not feel like you're nagging people, is setting up something like an app like Trello that then emails those members to keep on top of things, so you don't feel like so much of a nagger.
Thank you so much for your kind answer. And first of all, I just missed the introducing because of my microphone was getting problem here.
That's
so
right.
This is Shahadat from Rotaract Club of Islamabad, which established first 25 years ago from Bangladesh. So I have been Rotaracting for past 4 years, and I've been elected secretary for this year. And nice to meet you, every secretary, and thanks to introducing all the space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we've got 1 minute before we have to be back in the other room, so we might leave it there just so that we're not late to the next session. But like I said, if at any point anyone has any questions and you want to reach out to me, feel more than free. Always happy to have a chat about secretary and organisation.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddie. It's been great to have you. If you want to join the main room, the link is now in the messenger in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Talk soon.